obviously
Mm.
some shit need to be laughed at together. So where we gonna go with this, chat? Where we gonna go? We got so many different, so much time, so much to grift on. Um,
Hey, Brew.
you know what? Fuck it. Let's do it. So let's get into some drama.
Ooh,
Let's
drama.
get into some drama. How many of y'all watch the NFL?
Nope. If we were talking about hockey, I would have said yes.
First of all, you're disgusting. But
Mm.
apparently, none of y'all niggas are real men in here. Y'all not watching the NFL. But let's talk about what happened this past weekend. Let me put this out of here. Where's the audio?
Please welcome starting quarterback of the New York Giants, Jackson Dart.
What's up? What's up? What's up? Yeah. Big Blue Nation, it's a pleasure to be here. I got to start this off with a Go Big Blue. I'd love it if y'all would follow with me. Go Big Blue. Go Big Blue. Go Big Blue. Go Big Blue. What an honor, what a privilege it is to be here. And without further ado, I'm grateful, I'm honored, I'm pleasured to introduce the 45th and 47th President of the United States of America, President Donald J. Trump.
And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. There you have it. So the starting quarterback of the NFL football Giants went to a Trump presentation and introduced him, and nigga, the internet melted the fuck down. Okay? The internet melted down so bad. Now, watch this. His teammate, first round pick from last year, okay? Abdul Carter, who was also a rookie. Jackson Dart was a rookie last year. Tweeted out, thought this shit was AI. What we doing, man? And this sparked some of the biggest meltdowns all over the internet. Niggas is mad, niggas is crying, niggas is calling for their mama. And I kind of thought Katie was gonna be here, but apparently he has an emergency. So Sevi, based on I mean, I don't know how much you know about the past when it comes to the NFL and politics, but what is your immediate reaction to this?
Um, I genuinely just don't really care. I don't understand why people care about it, because if you think about it, there's uh already like celebrities and artists and singers that go out and support the candidates, and it's like at this point it's like I'm just so over it. I know way back when people used to say like people should, if you're in the public eye, you shouldn't take a spot, or you shouldn't take a position on it, but it's just become so commonplace now that it's just like whatever.
Well, and see, I
Yeah.
do agree with that. I do agree with that. That if you are in entertainment in any capacity, and that means sports, you need to leave the politics at home. In my personal opinion, because like at the end of the day, whether somebody's red or blue or right or left, they all trying to be entertained. And I don't need you dividing my motherfucking money. But at the same time, niggas threw that out in the NFL when they started kneeling.
Yeah, that's true.
Look at this goofball.
What's going on in New York? All right, it's time to have an uncomfortable conversation about what the hell is going on in New York. Jackson Dart, the quarterback, supporting President Donald Trump? He's allowed to do that. He's a citizen. He's allowed to have a freedom of thought. Abdul Carter, first-round pick, his teammate calling him out? He's allowed to do that. If Jackson Dart's allowed to support Donald Trump, then his teammate is allowed to support his grievances with him doing that. Here is my issue. Jackson Dart, you know how several of your brothers, your teammates, your friends, your ride or dies, how they might feel about this individual. So I don't think there's a lot of wisdom or discernment in very publicly supporting an individual who many of your teammates feel offended by. So yes, Jackson Dart, you're allowed to do whatever the hell you want, but I don't know that it's a super wise decision without necessarily consulting in some of your teammates. Abdul Carter, you're allowed to express your frustrations with it. I don't think it's super wise to do it publicly because now you got 36 million people looking at a tweet of Abdul Carter, you calling out your boy. Keep in mind, y'all are both supposed to be the future of the New York Giants. One a first-round quarterback, one a first-round edge rusher. Y'all both supposed to be the face of the franchise. So with that,
oh, give me a fucking break. What's happening? What's happening? Whatever. You get the point. I actually agree with his points.
Yeah, I got the point.
I believe both of them was wrong. That is something. I mean, like, listen, they're rookies, whatever the case may be. But I said, it's best to keep the politics at home. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. And I think this also brings up another issue, too. So if you think about the Gina Carano lawsuit, right, the reason why the Gina Carano lawsuit happened was because not a lot of states have this, but California does have a statute that says you cannot discriminate based on political speech, right, for employment. So if you the idea of the California statute was you cannot force somebody to follow one particular political opinion versus the other, right? A lot of other states don't have that. They just have generally freedom of speech, right? But some of that speech, again, is treated differently if you're in the public sector versus the private sector. In the private sector, they can have more control over it versus the public sector, right? So it does get into a little bit of an iffy territory when you have two people fighting over politics online. And if the NFL takes a stand and allows one thing versus the other, it could affect their careers because I'm sure they signed some type of agreement where they had probably something about no disparagement or keeping a public image or anything like that. When it comes to that, they're putting their careers on the line.
That's actually an excellent point that you brought up, because when you are a player for the NFL, there's something in your contract that states that you cannot put the brand at risk, that you cannot, you're not supposed to do anything that would put the NFL brand at risk. And I do think Jackson Dart unfortunately did that when he went up there. Now, should he face punishment? I don't believe so. But the NFL is inclined to punish him, but they can't punish him at the same time because then they're going to have to punish everybody else who makes a political statement. And you know, it's also politics at play here when it comes to the fact that Jackson Dart was a rookie NFL quarterback that made the New York Football Giants look good this past year, and so they're not going to want to do too much because he's the future. So
and the problem. Yeah, and the problem too is that most of these people, right, NFL, they might have collective bargaining agreements with unions, and most of the union contracts, I will say, I have not seen one single union contract that has not had this language that you could not discriminate based on a bunch of million different protected classes, right? So if they go ahead and they were to fire him because they are unionized, the union will very easily win this at an arbitration, and he would get a bunch of fucking ass money out of it.
Oh, well, there's zero chance the NFL is cutting him, firing him, or nothing like
it's
that.
not.
Let me tell you something about the NFL. All the NFL care about is, are you good? Are you good?
Mhm.
You can do whatever the
Yeah.
hell you want to do. You want to murder your wife on a Saturday evening? Listen, nigga, we'll help you hide the body. Just make sure you show up to work on Sunday for that football game. The NFL does not care. Now, if you're trash and you putting that shield at risk, or they getting your ass up out of there. You better ask Colin Kaepernick. A lot of people get mad. Oh, Colin Kaepernick get a job. Colin Kaepernick was ass. And so there's a lot of there's a conversation to be had about if Colin Kaepernick was still playing, was still starting, would he have taken that knee? Some believe no, some believe yes. I truly don't know. So
Yeah.
But I'm gonna assume Kata has nothing to say about this because he hasn't said anything. So we're gonna hit the
because y'all are talking.
Oh, go ahead.
He's eating, and he's not sharing.
But no, I think the whole outrage is bullshit, and I don't understand it because you had a whole campaign in 2024 called Athletes for Harris, and you had not only legends or like Hall of Famers from like the NFL and the NBA and things like that, but you also had active duty people that are on the rosters that were openly supporting Kamala Harris. And they do that all the time. So it's like if they can't sit there and they can support Kamala Harris again, it's completely fine. Nobody's saying that you can't do that. Like he's saying, I think you should be able to say whatever you want. But it's the overblown outrage if somebody says something that you necessarily don't align with. Like now you're trying to go, bro, what's going on here, man? What are y'all doing here, buddy? Like, oh, he has teammates that don't really agree. Who gives a fuck? You're sitting here and you have people that support people that he may not necessarily agree with, but y'all wouldn't tell him to be quiet. So I think this whole thing is fucking stupid, and y'all they need to shut up about it. Well, like if he wants to sit out and go, like, oh, if he wants to be brought out, like I do think him being brought out, like that's kind of like, you know, like I see what you mean there, where it's like, okay, like he's doing this, but again, it's not affecting the field. It's not like Colin Kaepernick, where he's like on the field and he stops and he's like, I just want to take this moment to thank Donald J. Trump. Like, no, that's not what's happening. He's doing something on his off time. It has nothing to do with the league or whatever. So I feel like if you're able to support one way, somebody else should be able to support the other way. I think this whole thing is blown out of proportion.
Well, we'll see where I agree with what you're saying, but then at the same time I don't agree, because if I was his teammate and he asked me about that before doing it, I would have told him not to do it. And the reason being is because, first of all, you're a rookie, right? And so it's not like you got any skin in the game. You haven't earned the respect of everybody yet. If Tom Brady goes out there and supports Donald Trump, then nobody's going to check Tom Brady, right? But you're also the future of our franchise, and we need our entire locker room to believe in you and want to support you going forward. The last thing, and this does happen in the NFL, the last thing we want is for an offensive lineman to not want to block for you because you're a Trump supporter. Is it stupid? Absolutely, we fucking agree that it's stupid, but we know that there's people like that. We don't need any wide receivers that don't want to catch the ball for you, or any coaches that don't want to help you or look out for your best interest because you decide to go out and introduce Donald Trump at some rally or whatever the case may be. Again, this is not about silencing you or violating your free speech. It's about putting football first. And the reason why I would stand by that is because there's been a lot of black NFL quarterbacks who we've criticized for not putting football first. And I think the same should go for Jackson Dart. I get it. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity to introduce the U.S. president. Me personally, if I wasn't an NFL quarterback, I would have done the same thing. You're meeting the president. You're introducing them. You're going to be, people going to remember that forever. But if you're a quarterback of an NFL team, I don't think you should be introducing any candidate, right, in any situation, because football should be first. And that's all I mean by that. But other than that, I'm good with it.
You got a hypno raid. Hey, Bigot Army.
Shout out to the Bigot Army.
What's up to the biggest? What's good, boys? Keep it up. The biggest are trying to clap your cheeks. Don't let them touch you.
Oh boy.
Nasty
Oh
people.
boy.
Any last words before we move on?
Well, I just don't think that him doing that doesn't necessarily mean that he's not putting football first. You know, like I hear everything that you're saying. Everything that you're saying is exactly why I think this is blown out of proportion. Because he should be able to just go out and do whatever it is that he's doing on the field or off of the field, regardless of, you know, people are saying, oh, this might be toxic or whatever. Because again, if somebody did that on the opposite side, there wouldn't be people saying, no, don't
Well,
go
you
do that,
focused on the
bro.
wrong. You focused on the
You
wrong
know?
thing. You thought you talking about.
No,
what
I'm only
somebody
focused
could
on
do.
the thing what's right and wrong. That's the only thing I'm focused
I'm not,
on.
but that's the thing. This isn't about right or wrong when it comes to football.
I know,
What
and
I'm
that's the
saying-
problem.
What I'm saying is, this isn't about right or wrong on either side. And I'm not even saying that he's necessarily not putting football first because he's not thinking about it. What I'm saying is, I would have told you not to do that because the moment you do that, you're going to divide the locker room, which is going to create a distraction on the field. It just is. That's just a fact. So I'm not telling you that you shouldn't support Donald Trump. I'm saying if you do this, you know that you're going to have teammates that are going to look at you crazy, and it's going to divide the locker room. And if we're trying to win in football, that's the last thing we need. That's what I'm saying.
I hear what you're saying, but that shouldn't even be a contention that should be
We're
had.
not talking about what should be. We're talking about what is.
I know, and I'm just talking about why this whole thing is dumb. Like you're saying, what is, and I think this is stupid. Like it is. It is stupid at the root of it. It is the dumbest thing that I've ever seen. Because again, like, and now if he been on the field and this was something that was impacting the game, like what Colin was doing, I 100% would understand. Like, yo, we're here playing football. Like you're trying to sit here and take a knee and do all this other shit. You are actively distracting from what's happening on the field right now. But like what he's doing on his off time, no, I don't think that it should be a problem, especially since it just goes back to the other side. Because had somebody came out for Kamala, there would not be this level of outrage right now. It wouldn't be the same.
No, because
It
they
wouldn't be
treat
the same.
everything differently. They give way more leeway to the left than they do to the right. You know,
No,
it's
but
very
I do
different
hear you,
treatment.
though. I do hear you because, you know, people who play sports, you understand it. Like there's this certain codes and there's certain things that you talk about, and you know about how you go about your business and shit like that. I 100% get that. But sometimes I feel like that should influence what's happening, like on the field. And I especially think that the politics thing, I think that's the dumbest thing that they should be worried about. Because again, like you're saying, you know, football first. That's what you should be worried about. Who cares if he's out there, you know, like, hey, I'm bringing out Donald Trump or you're bringing out Kamala or whatever. Who cares? It's about football. As long as we're on the field and we're able to do what we need to do, that's all that matters. So if they let that divide them in the locker room, then they have a personal issue they have to work through.
No, and well, I agree with that. I do agree that it's stupid as hell. We just know how niggas are. So I mean, you know, I believe it's stupid. But the thing is, as a coach, as a human, as a coach, yeah, good luck going into a locker room telling niggas to get over it. Well, no, fuck that. Fuck that. You should be able to go in the locker room and tell niggas to get over it because they're getting paid. So it doesn't really fucking matter. But you know, that's a whole nother topic. Let's go ahead and move on to